Snaps to the rockets, for the love of the chopsticks. Ran up for the plug and I pop shit. Faced with immeasurable odds. Some of you niggas found pleasure in God. Measuring rod, the treasure they jobs. Athletic build, moving with purpose. Tapped in the magnetic fields, moving with serpents. To my brokers, a stroker, Al Booker. Couldn't predict the storms that follow, the porn that follow. Same a tree that fall for Rollo. We made it rain and we burnt money. Bentley truck, interior burnt honey. Anyway, I take respect over riches any day. I take neck from your bitches any day. Penny weight, that's a neck full of riches, Henny straight. Shifting through paradigms, the color of Geechee Dan. Drifting through the Carolines, color in the Geechee land. Time will tell. We move around at 33rd parallels, like Coney Island carousels. Fell asleep at Roswell, woke up in Cozumel. Pyramid hopping, chariot shopping. Number one seller, author of conscious fiction. Composition, confidence dripping. Continent drifting, a walking contradiction. With a contradiction. Brooms and mops, Mr. Clean. We conquered the kitchen, facts and fictions. Contrary to popular predictions. Red pill, popping your prescriptions, stopping your addictions. Yeah, bitch, I'm with the hoes. Black magic, yeah, bitch, I'm with the souls. Anything goes, cooking in Brooklyn. Cocaine to push, new strains of the kush. We call that Hussein in the bush. We from distant lands. Our DNA, different strands, different strains. Same planet, but different planes. Citizen Kane, Rosebud, they wanna get us in chains. Rosewood, the safety, stay off position. Chaos position. Never took the day off of kitchens, way off of pitching. These bitches out here fighting for fashion over crashing rovers, gassing over 3 times. Pre-crimes, Versace from your heyday, on layaway like Takashi and Treyway. Hopping with the AK, the war is on double consciousness. The devil's competence and accomplishments. When rhetoric turns into reason, the predicates turn into heathens. And the wolves in Connecticut are seasoned. Soon after disease will follow. I'm the same nigga that the D's would follow. Marlowe, my fam grew moving trees like Rollo. Before they seized the Gallardo. Went from Pablo, hopping out Diablos. Designer robes, dark side of the moon like the China probes. Believe it or not, my mind is all Wrigley's. Believe it or not, my mind on the big leagues. Ice Cube with the big three. Vine in the fig tree. Man on the big bees. Moving back in time like the Frisbees.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There you have it. One of the first singles off of the Scorpion King Part 2 project. This one is titled Bill Bixby. It's just a long freestyle, you know, just me going a little dumb and whatnot. Just, you know, just kicking the shits. You know, I'm talking about tapping into my Scorpion. You know, unfortunately for people who may not understand how Scorpions think and the way that we express ourselves, you know, we're anchored in what is known as Pluto. Shout out to Future. You know, we're Plutonian in our nature. So if you know what Pluto is, and if you know what Pluto rules and what it governs, then you understand where a little bit of that dark energy comes from. So to not be myself, or to not, you know, be able to express my energy and whatnot, and I'm an Aries rising, you know, it would destroy me. So we're gonna do a roll call. There was a whole bunch of people who was popping up and saying where they from when the music was playing. So let me get a roll call. First of all, give Blue Pill a shout out. Jersey is in the building. Leesburg is in the building. Chicago, Chi-Town is in the building. Okay? Blue Pillar and the KTL and the ATL is in the building. Shout out to Mama Pill. Shout out to KT the Arch Degree. Shout out to DC, Flint, Michigan, West Phoenix, Iowa. Okay. Buffalo, Long Beach, Fayetteville. Yes, Detroit is in the building. The D is in the building. Sacktown is in the building. Shout out to Sacktown. All right. Dallas is in the building. Oakland is in the building. Town Business. You already know what it is. Oakland is always, I mean, everybody's always in the building, but Harlem is in the building. Cali is in the building. Milwaukee. Shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to every single state, every single city, every single town. Harlem is in the building. San Antonio, Texas in the building. This is my thing that I want to say to y'all, for everybody that's in the building. Just make sure anyone who hears these videos, anyone who hears this cloth, anyone who's in the building and you giving me a shout out, when I come to your city, bruh, when I come to your city, make sure you're in the building. Here we are on the internet, but when I pull up to your city, when we pull up to your state, just make sure that you come out, because watching this on your phone or on your laptop is one thing, but being in the presence of the energy, of the love, of the frequency, not just of the people that you have come to see that's standing in front of you, but everybody that's in the audience, it's really a level up experience. Anytime we pull up, from a pop-up to a lecture, even when I'm vending at an event, you know what I'm saying? It's always a beautiful affair. Like, for the hundreds of times that I made that I went out there and connected, whether it may be maybe the thousands of times, it's always been love. Like yesterday at Nicholas in Brooklyn, Dr. Leala Africa and his lovely wife, Dr. Stevenson, okay? They did a Q&A, a 3-hour Q&A at Nicholas, and it was beautiful, and it was live streaming as well. And you know, Dr. Africa was giving them Dr. Africa. If you don't know about Dr. Africa, you are in for a treat when you go and do your research. If you don't know about our sister, Dr. Stevenson, Dr. Melanin Stevenson, then you are in for a surprise and a treat and some healing, because they have a lot of information. And Dr. Africa is going to give it to you raw and plain. I don't know any other way to describe it, but he's going to give it to you the way that he's going to give it to you. And when you get it, you like, oh, good looking. I respect that. It's medicine without the sugar. You know? It's medicine without the sugar. You know what I'm saying? The shit is raw. He's gonna juice the root right out the ground and just hit you with a shot, and another one, and another one, and another one. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, it's gonna do what it do. So shout out to everybody that came out yesterday. Shout out to Monique. Shout out to my guy Joel. Shout out to Kafunya. Shout out to Hank Rising Sun, King Simon. Everybody that was in the building, you know what I mean? And I look forward to seeing y'all very soon. We will be seeing you next Saturday, I believe. Okay, I'm gonna give you all of the information on that. We will be in Brooklyn. It's gonna be a beautiful affair. Let me pull up the flyer while we're building, and I'll let you know what's going on. Then we're going to be, there's some other places that we're gonna be. But Blue Pill has something that he wants to announce as well. Blue Pill is going to be in Atlanta doing some stuff. I will be out there as well. My brother Ra Aku will be out there, and AA Rashid will be in the building. And I'll give you some of the information on that shortly. All right. So on May 11th. All right. Hold on. How y'all doing though? Y'all all right? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let me get this flyer real quick. Shout out to my sister, my sister, Fun. Fun will be there as well. She's gonna be one of the hostess. All right. Queen of Four will be one of the hostess at this event. She'll be there doing her thing. There's a whole slew of other speakers. We're gonna be dealing with healing. Okay. This is gonna be focusing on healing. This is gonna be focusing on raising up your frequency and tapping in. Okay. So let me just get you the address and then we'll move forward. Indeed. But yeah, we're going to be bringing stuff to a lot of cities. Houston, we have something in Houston coming up. We have LA in late June. Los Angeles, we have a very, very big surprise in that one right there. That's going to be huge. We have ATL coming up. Malcolm X Fest is the end of May. Make sure all of my family from the ATL, make sure when y'all hit the Malcolm X Fest, you holler at me and Blue. We'll be out there with our clothes, with our merch, and you know, just link up. Okay. I'm gonna get you that address, all right, in a minute, because I don't want it to take up too much time. Shout out to Empress B444 in the building. Everybody, please give Empress B444 a super duper shout out. Shout out to Las Vegas. Yes, give her a shout out. She's holding it down, always in the building with that wrench, doing what it does. All right. Shout out to Compass Circle in the building as well. Always holding it down. Yes, indeed. All right. Peace, Sister Paula Walker. Salute. All right. When am I coming to Vegas? Oh, yeah. We're looking at Vegas around the time of the Magic Show. That will be late August. We're looking at Vegas, coming back to Las Vegas to follow up what we did in February at Kemet in the Desert Part 6 on 2/22, when me and Blue Pill went to Las Vegas and put on a wonderful, magnanimous show, all right, in the theater, a state-of-the-art theater. As a matter of fact, I believe that footage that we have from that event, that actual event, it was about 3 hours, called From Blackface to Blueface, okay? And that was around the time of the Gucci blackface controversy. So we were examining the history of blackface, but how does blackface apply to the conditions that our people have found themselves in by participating in plugging in and indulging and becoming what is known as a billion-dollar black ignorance industry, okay? The black ignorance that our people have perpetuated on a global scale has been commodified and valued in the trillions, not just the billions. They've made trillions off of black ignorance, not black excellence. Don't let me confuse you. I said black ignorance, okay? And black ignorance takes on a plethora of manifestations. I'm gonna read a few. Let me pull this lecture up. All right. So we talk about we had a heart attack and people were up in arms when we saw Gucci displaying our people or white people in blackface in their fashion show. But when we look at some of these entertainers, we have to ask ourselves, are these brothers running around in blackface? Like, are our people really out here putting on a minstrel show in 2019 on a global stage? You know, perpetuating what would be equivalent to cooning, or what would be equivalent to buck dancing, or what would be equivalent to basically, you know, selling out. I'm wondering, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that what we're seeing right here? Because that's what it's looking like. Good looking, Robert Hopkins, for the Cash App. Salute to all of my people in Cash App. Let me just say this: there is no what do they call that? Super chat. This channel, No the Ledge Media, they have been demonet. This shit has been demonetized since I brought it back to life in about 2016 and whatnot. It hasn't been monetized. Like this whole YouTube thing, this is a labor of love. Some people, this is their business plan. This is a labor of love. There's no checks involved in this YouTube thing. So the Cash App is Phil Moreland, PhilMoreland, more land. Okay. So salute to everybody that's hitting the Cash App. Yes, Little Brother did call it the Minstrel Show CD 2007. You know what I'm saying? They came out with that. Malik Willard, good looking for the Cash App. I appreciate you, bro. Yes, they came out with that. Bamboozled explored that whole dynamic in the movie Bamboozled, and I believe that came out before that movie did, when they were showing you the white rapper with the black rapper. You know what I'm talking about? And how they were basically showing you how our people are buck dancing and cooning and whatnot. So now when you fast forward to today, if one were to go on World Star Hip Hop on any given day, right, and take a concerted effort to rate the amount of content that's being released to the world, because World Star Hip Hop is the official de jour channel for Black hip hop, America, Black hip hop, ghetto hip hop, hood hip hop, mumble. There's nothing else that you could conjure up besides YouTube or Vlad TV, but World Star, in my humble opinion, that's our television station, right? That is our television station. That's our official platform that will broadcast our image, our what we stand for, okay? Our morals, our values, you understand? Our evolution, how far we've come along in this culture that's looked up and respected and revered and honored everywhere around the world that you may go. That's a fact. Okay? The hip hop is definitely seen as the dominant culture. People talk about, I mean, Western culture has a humongous influence, but Western culture and hip hop around the world are somewhat synonymous. But people know how to differentiate the two. You know what I'm saying? They know what hip hop has the potential of becoming. They know where hip hop was created and why it was created. They know the potential that it holds, and they know the disruptive capabilities of hip hop, which translates to not rap music. So we don't get confused. I always have to clarify the fact that I'm not speaking about. Thank you, Paula, for the investment and the donation and the gift. That was a very beautiful gift, the Cash App that you just sent. But hip hop is 5 elements. It's not rapping, and I'm not talking about mumble rapping, and I'm not talking about people making words rhyme and whatnot. That is one element of 5 elements that compromise the culture or the art form. Some people have their interpretation of what they want to, what kind of credit they want to give hip hop and how they want to identify it in these modern days and times and whatnot. But as a genre of music, it has it is dominant culture. It is a dominant culture by way of those 5 pillars. One of those pillars are the MC. It's the MC. It's the rapper, the master of the ceremony. The same way, and I have to give, before I ever talk about the 5 pillars, we always have to give a big ups to Black Dot, who brought forth what would that be? The Magnus Opus, okay? Hip Hop Decoded. So the first pillar of the culture of hip hop is MCing. MCing can be traced directly back to any of our high civilizations when we gave reverence to the quote-unquote griot, the storyteller, the one who would have all of these books in his head and whatnot. One take hove. Salute Eric Ford for the Cash App. One take hove. The griots, the ones who had the truth. You didn't go to a Bible because the truth was not written in a book. The truth was passed from mouth to ear. You didn't have to write it in a book because the truth was, it was the truth. Right? So what we see now is that they control the quote unquote griot, or they have the griot's tongue under contract. Okay? And by having the griot's tongue under contract, they actually in some ways control, you know, the frequencies of what is being said inside of this industry called the music industry, where you don't need an 800-hour lecture from Red Pill to convince you that this shit is super crooked and that they're robbing, you know what I mean, that there's a lot of pimpery taking place, and people who you thought it couldn't happen to, somehow this shit happens to them. Like they're out here hitting licks. All of a sudden, everything that Michael Jackson was owning and took from them, they miraculously took it back. All of a sudden, miraculously, Prince and his catalog and things like that he was saying that he didn't want to happen to it. Now they have well, I know Jay-Z and the estate have control of some things, but there's a whole lot of crookedness in that industry. But anyway, then let me get to the other pillar. The second pillar is the dance. Okay? The ancient dance. We've always been dancers. We've always had rhythm. We were always known for creating movements and whatnot to certain frequencies and certain beats in a ceremonial way. You feel me? And even a way where we turn up. Because I'm sure y'all know about how energy rises and whatnot. So we've always done that. Okay? Remember, the DJ, the third element, the drum, the boom bap. Okay? The drum exists in all genres of music, that not all genres of music that we're dominant in, but African music, Caribbean music, Cuban music, Haitian music, ADOS music, right? Well, it was actually a Jamaican by the way of Kool Herc, who brought forth the master of the he mastered the turn, he brought the turntable, he brought in that drum. Right? But that's one element, okay? So you have the drum, you have the DJ. When the hip hop started, you couldn't, the MC and the DJ were inseparable. You could not separate the two. There was a duality taking place. There was a fusion of the two. DJ Kool Herc, aka Clyde Davis. Okay? So then the other pillar of hip hop. Now remember, let me go back real quick. Look at where your culture is right now. Look at the state of the culture in its 45th year. People could be saying, oh, it's evolving and it's become global. So globally, people have global dominant, there's dominant global markets of hip hop that nobody from the Bronx, nobody from BK, nobody that I know, right? Not to say that they should be getting something from this, but somebody on another side of the planet, what's the K-pop people name? Are they rappers? What's Bad Bunny and them doing? What are they doing in Russia? Right? I don't know the name of the groups and whatnot, but they all around the world utilizing an art form, utilizing a culture to not only enrich themselves, but to program, to terraform, and to guide the minds of the youth and the people. Like, Going back to my dude Lil Nas X, you can't tell me nothing. Niggas can't tell me nothing. Like there's no other. What other culture? Who you jacking? Who you trying to be? Liberace? Huh? Who you trying to emulate? Justin Bieber? But he's trying to emulate you. Who you trying to be like? The Backstreet Boys? You niggas on Backpage. Who you trying to be like? Who are we trying to emulate? And for the people that's trying to emulate, you completely off code. And those people stand out. I see y'all in Forbidden Planet. I see you at Comic-Con. That shit is not cute though. You know what I mean? But it's not, you know, our culture is very dominant. Okay? There's another aspect of the culture. It's called the graffiti. Okay? So the graffiti artist, the one who basically was the visualizer, the one who brought the art form, he took hip hop, he and she, they took this culture, they took this whole thing and they did what they did during the Renaissance. They made art. Urban artists bending reality, right? Going into some quantum shit. Imagine a white person, a European, or just a New Yorker waking up, going to work one day at the World Trade Center or whatnot. They got their little Dunkin' Donuts ready to get on the train, and the train pulls up, and it's a Picasso. I mean, the shit's still dripping wet. It got it's the Voltron on that bitch, Thundercats. Whatever they was doing, it was urban artwork. To the point that if you ask the majority of New Yorkers, I don't know about the new New Yorkers, these are some different people, but the old New Yorkers would be like, yo, bring them old trains back. Fuck that. Shit was it was a moving museum of that time. These are artists. They brought hip hop to life. They gave hip hop a whole nother body to it, a whole nother spirit to it, a whole nother youthful appeal to it. Because remember, they were mixing manga. They had the graffiti artists was coming up with their own form and whatnot. A lot of brothers and sisters from Puerto Rico, might I add. Okay? Coming with a different, they were merging these styles and whatnot, bringing in tribal, you know, tribal letters and what, you know, all of that stuff. So that conglomerate of different cultures coming together and visually expressing what the music was doing, what the drums was doing to them. Remember, it was the beginning of hip hop. It wasn't even like they had a lot of mixtapes that they was listening to. These niggas was just going off for 5 minutes of funk. You feel me? And they were making, they were disrupting. They were the disruptors of New York City by way of, because hip hop could have just been music coming out of a boombox. They disrupted the landscape and made everybody pay attention to the rise of this culture. There was a big disruptor, and we've seen this culture before. How can you not see the comparisons to great graffiti pieces and art and whatnot to what we seen when our ancestors were carving hieroglyphics or the Medu Neter in stone? Do you not see the comparisons? Whack out your hood and graffiti. So hip hop is a very, very thriving, because remember, in the dancing world, if you go into Japan right now, if you go into Korea right now, if you go into other places like Africa, right? If you go into places in Europe, they are having humongous breakdancing contests. And we ain't in the building like that. It's people of all nationalities spinning on their heads, right? Getting it in, turning up. It's not our people. It's people who have interpreted your culture, and you told them to dance, and they saw us in the videos and whatnot with the good foot dancing, happy feet, right? They seen niggas happy feeting. So they started with the Happy Feet, Jabberwockies and all of that. They started with their version of Happy Feet. Now they have YouTube, and now before they had DVDs that they were watching and studying us, because your culture is so rich, your culture is so dominant, your culture is so disruptive, and your culture is so of the now that people are studying it to the point where they're becoming masters of it, where we just born into it. We like, you know, it's whatever. I'm gonna go listen to this music. I'm gonna go ahead and punch the clock. I'm gonna go ahead and struggle. I'm gonna go ahead and take chances in the penitentiary. I'm gonna go ahead and put my neck on the line. I'm gonna go ahead and just be mad negative and pessimistic about who I am. But around the world, on every corner of the planet, just you alone, what you represent is honored. Even with all of the negativity that they lambast around the world and they broadcast. Remember, the image that they're broadcasting about us around the world is an extremely destructive one. There's, I mean, not to say that that we don't have that image, because as we're all, you know, we're here. It's in game. It's 2019, my niggas. So I don't care if you could prove that we 3 billion, 100 million, or 50 years old, nigga. We here. So the culmination of all of the bullshit that takes place in life finds us right now, here in 2019, all of us collectively. Some of y'all on the line right now. You know what I'm saying? So what are you gonna do? That's the only conversation that we really should be having. What are you gonna do to use this to your advantage? You know, there's no more, I guess the breakdancing days and all of that is over. You know what I mean? I don't want to break dance. Let the Koreans go ahead and do that. But, you know, what are we getting in exchange? Do we have any cultural exchange taking place? Did they give us anything in return? I don't see no manga comic books with niggas with locks. And you know, I don't see many video games that are all melanated, showing up the power of melanin, showing us knocking buildings down. They just keep recreating Mike Tyson in all of these video games, or niggas with guns. So we need a cultural exchange to begin to take place, because everywhere that I go, or everywhere that we go around the world, all we see is people emulating our culture. So what table is set up, and where can we sit down and eat at? Just let me know. And because the culture is powering the world. The culture is feeding the world, is giving the world, you know, the cheat code, right? On how to be an American God. These niggas is getting tough just from listening to hip hop. People like, yo, where white people get that heart from? Nigga, mixtapes, playlists, Spotify. They listening to you niggas, Wu-Tang. You know what I'm talking about? They're studying you. They're studying you. And what are you doing? You're forfeiting your power to them simultaneously. You're not studying them. You get mad when we come forward after studying them and tell you about what the shit we found out during our studies. Niggas get all uncomfortable. You don't want to study your enemy. We haven't even got to the point where niggas are accepting that as the fucking reality. So you don't study them. They're studying you though. And from that studying, obviously some things have been found and discovered. The studies that they've done on our people, they predicted where we would be socially, mentally, even emotionally at this point. This is still in game. This is still a part of an experiment. This is not a mistake. None of this shit is, how can it be when you've had a hidden hand Not so hidden anymore, but you have a hand steering a lot of things. I don't care if you spiritual. I don't care if you metaphysical. I don't care if you occultic. I don't care if you religious. Whatever you subscribe to, nigga, it goes across the board the same way. Okay? There's some dark forces and there's some goddamn opposing forces to everything that's natural, everything that's carbon based. You know what I'm talking about? And everything that's us, everything that's melanin based, there's something that's naturally opposing the motherfucking the divine spark of those people collectively from waking up and powering up and standing the fuck up. You know this. It could be us though. It could be us. But it's not. It's a collection. It's not just one person. It ain't that simple. It doesn't matter. So what we know though is we don't victimize ourselves and we don't cower and we don't run and we don't intellectualize excuses. What we say is, oh, well, God damn it. All right. It's like going in a gym and you niggas put an extra plate on the bar. So it's just time to get right, because how could God measure himself if not for his opposition? How could God measure himself if not for the motherfucking devil on the goddamn field? You niggas don't watch Game of Thrones? You know what I'm talking about? We amongst the dead, the White Walkers and the dead army. That's these zombies in these streets. I don't care what color they are. You know what I'm talking about? They all walking dead. They all zombied out, eating brains and whatnot, eating, running around, eating on each other, because I've explained before that the way that this death culture has been set up and the way that our people have been programmed, we've been programmed to be a part of the zombie apocalypse, because Nas said hip hop is dead. Remember, I'm talking about the culture, right? He didn't clarify. He didn't say rap. He said hip hop is dead. So that means all of those pillars, and the fifth pillar that I'm going to get into is something called consciousness. You didn't even know that? The fifth pillar is consciousness, is culture. So we had to bring the pillars back. The pillar's been broke. Boaz and Jakim, nigga, was a broken pillar. That pillar was not active for many years. It was active in the golden era of the 88s and 89s and 90s with Rakim Allah, Big Daddy Kane, King Asiatic, Nobody Equal. Okay? The Juice Crew, everybody that was God Body. Lakim Shabazz, 45 Kings, X-Clan, who was comedic. The Ice Cube when he went conscious in 90. With America's Most Wanted, with the Boom Squad. I'm talking about PE. I'm talking about early PE. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. My Uzi weighs a ton. That day, that part. Before they ran down on GRIFF, that part. Are you serious? Do you know what the frequency was like in these streets? Our people were wide awake. Our people were on one. Some shit happened. Some shit like what just happened in the Avengers. Somebody came back and took the time stone, and now niggas getting time for them stones. They switched it up on us. But the stone that knocked niggas down is that crack rock. That was the Infinity Stone that knocked niggas on their ass. That was the Thanos snap when they came with AIDS, the motherfucking crack. I'm talking about when they came with a lot of that stuff. That was the Ronald Reagan Thanos snap. And I don't know what happened to a lot of people as a result. I don't know, it was the ground must have got shooken, because it didn't even look this bad when it was happening. You know what I'm saying? It didn't even look this bad when it was going down. Remember, this is endgame. This is the fallout. Now you can assess. This is the Saturn retrograde. This is a divine time for assessment. And I'm assessing the conditions and I'm assessing the timeline without disrupting it. We can assess because this is Saturn retrograde. So Saturn is the 30-year cycle. Okay, Saturn is all of this shit that we talking about: sex, money, and drugs. Sex, money, rock and roll. We talking about Pluto retrograde, so that's death. That's motherfucking. That's Future Hendrix, nigga. That's Molly Percocet. That's the underworld. That's all of the shit that you niggas have listened to. Don't get puritanical and try to run out the room right now. Get over here. We gonna pull you back. Anybody who walked on that side, anybody who tapped into the ancient one, the dark self, the dark side. You know what I mean? You know, the unknown. Then you know what I'm talking about. That's what Pluto rules. Everything that's on the radio, everything that's inside of this $1 trillion, what we call the $1 billion black ignorance industry. I'm looking for this thing. Let me see. The black ignorance industry, which consists of a lot of things: reality shows, some of the daytime talk, you know, a lot of the coons in hip hop. I mean, we could go on for days, but I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna show you the slide as soon as I pull it up. But the culture is beginning to work against us rather than work for us. And we are the culture. You know what I'm saying? The culture is not something that exists on some shelf somewhere. Nigga, the culture is your black ass. You know what I'm saying? It's you. You're the fucking culture. You know what I mean? Like, let's be clear. So, we got work to do. You know? If it's 100 of us, 1,000 of us, 10,000 of us, 100,000 of us, I mean, it doesn't matter because nothing started at 1,000,000. Nothing started at 10,000. Nothing even started at 1,000. Most of these movements that blew up and grew up and became bigger than, you know, bigger than what people thought that they could become, they started out with a few people, like hip hop. What do you think? It was a big movement of a big posse? It was a whole bunch of people? That's not, you know, that's not factory. You know what I'm talking about? That's not what it was. It was a handful of people at first, and then it began to grow, and then it began to influence, and then it began to have people, you know, see what the benefits and what that thing was really about. How were people were living in abject poverty? Do you understand? Do you know what the Bronx looked like in the 70s? It was PTSD the minute you come outside. I was in a stroller. I just came out of Mama Pill's womb and I was born into a war zone. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to discredit anybody who may have been born in a tough place and whatnot. Some people might have been born in shanty towns on this line, for all I know. But let me tell you something. In the 70s, in the Bronx, you could Google it. It looked like there was a mini war taking place. And they were buildings burning. Like they had buildings burning all over the Bronx. Vacant lots that lasted for blocks. Dope fiends. I'm talking about, you know, it was an interesting place to be incarnated in. But once again, a Scorpio, Pluto, I probably felt at home. You know what I'm talking about? The shit felt great when you really think about it. I can articulate it later on down life, but it wasn't like I was trembling in my carriage. We was chilling. We was always chilling. Let me make that clear. Through all of this experience in my 43 years, it's always been from the observer point of view or the participant point of view, never from the victim point of view. Yeah. This is us in the Bronx. Okay? You see the bulletproof carriage, niggas? You see the red shoes? We was repping back then. He got the blues on, I got the reds. And then this is us later. This is us in the 90s. You know what I'm talking about? So it's been a beautiful journey. You have no idea. It's the greatest story never told. I promise you. It's the greatest story never told. You should feel like that about your story. I feel like that about my story. It's the greatest story never told. It's a motherfucking saga. It's an epic saga. You know what I'm talking about? At least 8 seasons like Game of Thrones. At least 8. We can't wrap this shit up in a 2-hour movie. So, and that's what our culture deserves. That's what hip hop deserves. We need our modern day John Singletons to come forward and identify themselves. People, a student, a young Padawan, a young Jedi who was studying a master who could come forward and impress upon the minds and the consciousness of our people a coming of age story similar to what John Singleton did with Boys in the Hood and Baby Boy, the coming of age in the 90s and the coming of age in the 2000s. Where's the coming of age in the 2020s where the baby is utilized, he's spending Bitcoin. They growing up coding at 3 and 4. They're flirting with time travel and quantum computers and the D-Wave machine at 10 and 12. I just posted an article on my Instagram about a 9-year-old. Was it a 6-year-old? It was a 6-year-old in college, bro. Bro, it's a black 6-year-old running around in college right now. He's identified. They said he had autism, but he's a savant. Fam, he's 6. So we're talking about the ancestors definitely making their presence known. The ancestors coming back. If a child is in college at 6, we need Professor X. You know what I mean? Not Xavier. You know what I'm talking about? We need Professor XXX Tentacion or somebody to go and get that damn child. Because what's going to happen, Mensa is going to pop up. Mensa would be like Magneto in them. Mensa would be like Nick Fury in them. Mensa will be the government. And what the government does is they take all of the crystals, all of the indigos who are homeschooled, who coinkadinkally go into colleges, right? Sometimes Ivy League and things of that nature, but they go from a safe place that's excelling their minds because at 6 they're getting into college, or at 9 they're getting into Ivy League colleges. So it's something about homeschooling. There's a formula that's being perfected in the home with the original griot and the original teacher, hip hop parents that are basically equipping these children with enough intellect and computing power in their brains, activating their pineal by feeding them right, putting them onto. I promise you, I could bet money on it. I promise you that they have a lot of those children listening to one of the master teachers. That is a fact. That is a factory. If it's not Dr. Ben, if it's not Dr. Clark, if it's not Sabi, if it's not Valentine, if it's not one of the master teachers, they are tapping in. And when they put these children in these colleges and we don't have an organization or we don't have an institution that can actually intercept these children by speaking to their parents and speaking to the child as well, if the child is in college at 9 and 6, I'm sure they have an understanding about the common sense of what it is that you will be telling them, okay? Because if we had an organization like that, these would be the young geniuses that we would be nurturing as a nation to do what? To be the Tony Starks to be the Elon Musk, to be all of that, to be the Nikola Teslas of our generation. You don't have to doubt yourself because you already did bigger than what any one of them did. We already did that. So the DNA is already dormant inside of a few thousand of us because the shit multiplies. So if it already happened, then there are chances that that DNA or that memory or that divine spark or that Higgs boson, that God particle exists in multiple vessels or multiple beings around the world. That's why they're taking plasma. That's why they're taking blood the minute of inception. They running everybody's DNA, all of it. They'll find out your first day here who you are based off of your DNA. When you hear from your first day is the same shit that niggas is cotton swabbing and all of your ancestry.com motherfucking results is popping up with. So they're doing all of that from inception. So we have to understand that these indigos, these, these crystals, these crystals, don't bother them. They shouldn't be they shouldn't, don't try to convert them to be one of your members or whatnot, but they should be definitely encouraged and fed information that they are, in need of. If they ask, the teacher shall appear. You know what I mean? But these children are the future. And if we don't have these children working with us, they're going to be working against us by way of corporate America. It has happened time after time after time after time. I promise you. Because even with the dysfunction that we had in the 60s with the rise of the heroin epidemic and whatnot, when it completely crushed and decimated high functioning middle class and upper class black neighborhoods, okay, and lower class, it wiped out a whole bunch of progress that we were making collectively as a people when the Italian mafia, by way of the CIA, by way of the government, created what is known as the French Connection. And that French Connection, by way of Lucky Luciano, who was a government informant, okay, who they let out of Alcatraz and brought him back to Italy. And then he started a heroin pipeline into where else but the ghetto, but the hood, and started flooding our hoods with the quote unquote heroin. And then the Italian mafia and whatnot came through, and they were trying to, well, prior to that, they were trying to take down the numbers game. And and now we have the lottery. But that's something that we were doing uptown. That was something that Casper Holstein, who is a native of the Virgin Islands, St. Croix to be exact, you know what I mean, who was employed on Wall Street, he brought the numbers game. He brought the formula. He brought the algorithm to Harlem. In the Sugar Hill days, my nigga, he brought the algorithm of motherfucking success to Harlem, and that was called the numbers game. And the numbers game basically began to enrich colored folk, black folk, your people, them ADOSs up there. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, the numbers game, something that mamas and aunties and uncles and cousins and all of that play to this day, get money to this day, wake up thinking about numbers, dreaming about numbers, and go and hit the number. You could be on zero. You could be on E. And you can have a premonition about a number, and you could bet on yourself and walk away with a few $1,000s. What's wrong with that? If anybody thinks that something is wrong with that, I may think that something is wrong with you. You may be underneath the programming of somebody, authoritarian figures, telling you what the fuck you can do to make a goddamn current move versus what you can't do. And nobody on this planet can tell you what the fuck you could do to make a current move. It's energy. You're going to tell me how to move energy around? And through what channels? So the numbers game is everywhere. The numbers game is a tradition of our people. The numbers game was getting so much money. They was making so much cash. They wasn't selling drugs to each other. They were selling numbers. And the Italian mafia they ran down the same people who people walking around trying to carry their names and whatnot. They try to run down on Queenie. They try to run down on Bumpy Johnson and all of them. And they got their wigs pushed back. They got pushed up out of Harlem, but they caught a lot of bodies too. They inflicted a lot of pain on our people. They took out a lot of legends. And then the heroin came, and in my humble opinion, that was a completely, thank you, Akasha, for your humble donation, your gifting. The Cash App, that wasn't it. That, like, if ever we got our hands on a time machine, I would tell you where to go back and try to fix this thing. It would be that heroin era. You know what I mean? It would be the heroin craze. Like, that really pushed our people's wigs back. You know what I'm saying? It really took the ADOS, the people who are currently identifying as the American descendant of slaves. This was prior to the opening of the gates where the Haitians and the Jamaicans and the Trinidadians and the Africans from the continent were coming into and flooding the borders of America, North America. It was prior to that. This was mostly ADOS and Europeans from all over the continent of Europe. You had the Irish, who were mostly law enforcement, right? You had the Italians, okay, who were, through the way of the mafia. You had the you had the German, right? We were facing the German, who have the Bavarians, okay? Do you know BMW? BMW is Bavarian Motorsports. Those Germans, some of them love our people for the history that we represent in Germany, and some of them hate us to the core. Okay? The majority of Middle America is Germans, the Germanic tribes. You have to know who these people are. You have to know who you are in regards to the Bavarian. You have to know who you are in regards to the Holy Roman Church and things of that nature. You got to know who you are. The Bavarian Motorsports, and no wonder black people around the world love them some BMWs. So we had the Khazars and the Ashkenazi Jews. They were from Eastern European, Poland, and other places, all of the stands. Turkestan, Czechostan, Lakilistan. You feel me? Eminem stand. Like, it was all of these stands and stuff like that. So we had all of those Europeans that we were dealing with. And we didn't have much help. We didn't have niggas on the bench and whatnot. We didn't have Africans to hold it down. We didn't have Jamaicans to come in, you know what I mean, and pull the machete out and whatnot, or get on their rude boy shit. We didn't have none of that. And guess what? During that time, this shit was more stable in terms of power structure, in terms of identifiable power structures, organizations, and the way that we was holding shit down in the face of the KKK, in the face of the Jim Crow, in the face of all of that. And that is a Snapple fact. And it's only when Hollywood began their dominance about retelling the stories, and they controlled the narrative, because they became the griots. Okay, and they became the quote unquote, they were beating the drums. This is what Hollywood was doing. That's when our people started believing that bullshit. Let me tell you something. Niggas just got scared recently. Nigga, Bone Crusher, we was never scared. Our people wasn't no docile Negroes. We wasn't wimping. We wasn't on wimpy time. The same way that black men was hard as nails in the 70s, they were harder in the 30s, and they were even harder than that in the 1800s, and they were even more goddamn primal in the 1700s. Don't get it messed up. The same way that dudes was like they was not having it in the 80s, and then they started having it somewhere in the 90s. And then in the 2000s, niggas just had it. And then later on, is niggas is just had. Like, that's a process. I could chart that process, because fortunately for someone such as myself, who is a researcher of the timeline, nigga, I was there. I don't gotta read a book, because there's no books on that. If you read the goddamn Subway novels and try to interpret what the 90s was like, nigga, you're lost. If you're looking at the videos and puffy, shiny suit videos and whatnot, you still may be a little lost. You had to really be there. It was just different, and no piece of entertainment, I think, has captured that era to this day. No piece of entertainment, no movie, no fucking book. I don't think, because there was so much going on. It hasn't been encapsulated. But that era, that magical era, that impactful era, that era is still being perpetuated to this day, to 2019, nigga. That era is the shit that's powering this era, because they still on the same designers. Nobody, nigga, they did not even change the designers. It's still Louis, Gucci, Fendi. Niggas is still popping bottles because that's what that age ushered that in. The bottle popping and Moet, then it moved to Cristal. It's still about the bottles, the Douce now, and the motherfucking Ace of Spades and the Rose. It was about flossing. It was about money tossing. It was about getting your body counts up, and that's what it is today. To this motherfucking day, nothing has changed. Woo! Salute to you, John. That was yeah. I gotta put that. That's $100. I appreciate you, King. Do you like? That's called, we call that the tunnel era. We call that the tunnel era, circa 1993, 1994, 1995, 1996, and 1997, and it comes abruptly to an end on March 9th, where the king of that era, or the king of that time slot, or the Thanos of that timeline, Biggie Smalls, was murdered. That's when it got disrupted, and then later on, Jay-Z and whatnot, they revive it and they turn it into whatever they turn it in. But the tunnel era, that whole era, was a crazy, magical, dark Pluto. Whole what Jay-Z said. It was it was a ready to die. So many people died during those years too. So many kings fell. So many gods, tapped out and whatnot during that time. That's when a lot of people was getting locked up, triple, getting them big numbers. But with the negatives was the positives. I'm just giving you the negative first, but that was a powerful time. Music was crazy. Oh yeah, DMX and Jay-Z comes together. My bad. It's the Jay-Z, DMX, and Puffy was still doing his Puffy thing and whatnot. But those were and then Master P. This is the Rise of the South. That's Master P and all of them. 97 stuff like that, or like mid 97 and whatnot. But it's DMX with the street shit, with the super thug, hard body. Let's get back to the gritty shit. Because Big in them was taking them into a place where people were like, "Yo, I'm a boss. I'm a capo." Now I'm not. Biggie was started out with the dirty hoodie, the leaning Timbs. He was the proverbial nickel and dime seller, right? That's what Ready to Die is. He's just a hand to hand drug dealer. By life after death, he's a Willie. Like, he's a sex symbol, fam. He's with Faith. You understand? He went from ashy to classy. And he did it all in front of the world. And he brought a whole bunch of people with him. That's what I'm trying to explain to you right now. Like, he planted a seed inside of the heads of some criminology sociopaths and brothers and sisters who are suffering from PTSD and all kind of afflictions by being exposed to poverty and all of the darkness that comes with poverty. That's what we was exposed to. And he was talking about getting out of poverty, and he was telling it in an eloquent way. But if you decided that you wanted to sell kilos of coke and follow, do the Frank White shit, then that was a risk that you had to take. You know what I mean? Some people was just selling real estate. Some niggas was selling cars and whatnot. Some people just decided to sell clothes and just apply the Biggie shit to it. He gave you mantras. It was all a dream. Get money. Get money. So that was the ashy to classy era, where, I mean, it was classy before that, because when we was doing the low life, when we was doing the polo, we was, the dance hall, you know what I mean, with the reggae and all of that, that was 91. To be honest with you, that's really when it started. I can't even say the tunnel era. I would say 90 all the way to like 97 and whatnot. Because a lot of the shit that happened in New York popped off on the dance hall reggae scene real hard. as well as on the hip hop scene. But like Biltmore Ballroom, Tilden Ballroom, Caribbean Dome, with Addies, all of the sound clashes, the Addies sound clash, Kilimanjaro, you know what I'm talking about, Spectrum and all of that shit had a big impact on the culture. I know people who didn't even listen to hip hop for mad years. They was only on some gunman because the dance hall shit was about busting your gun. The dance hall shit was about bodying niggas and being a dapper don, a playboy. The dance hall shit was about being a cocksman. You know what I mean? Being a ladies man. I'm dead ass because a lot of the hip hop clubs was sword fights. You might see the Lady of Rage in there or something. You know what I'm talking about? You know, some roughnecks. It wasn't no bad shorty. Little Kim brought the shorties out. She brought the thoughts out. Let's be clear. You know what I mean? She got the club popping. Little Kim and Foxy got the club popping on the hip hop side. But the reggae shit was already lit. Who used to go to hooky parties? Super Cat. Super Cat bodied a nigga. Niggas love Super Cat. Ninja Man busting. I went to Biltmore and Bounty Killer backed out a 4/5 the size of a fucking a candy machine, bro. And then let off a shot inside the club, fam. I was sold. I was like, this is the hardest nigga ever. Like, the Jamaican gunman is remember Biggie Smalls is Jamaican. The Jamaican gunman who fashioned himself after fucking John Wayne, the spaghetti westerns and kung fu flicks. You know what I'm talking about? In mobster movies. The Jamaican Badman, the Shower Posse, the Jamaican influence on hip hop is undeniable because I promise you, they was the ones who was on that Gunman, Hard to Kill, Screwface, Shower Posse, Babyface, all of those stories that was going down and where we from Flatbush and in other places. Then them hip hop niggas started getting on it like that. They wasn't the hardest shit that we had was Cool G Rap. The On the Run. You know what I mean? Like that was some of the most, but other than that, hip hop wasn't really talking like that. And then Biggie came, you know. And then Biggie, Harlem was wild classy. What happened to Harlem? Remember Harlem used to be the place to go to get the highest quality shorty? Remember Harlem was the place during Grant's Tomb and Ruckers and whatnot, shorties with the doobies and whatnot, with the door knockers and the baby hair on permanent lean, huh? Edges, edges on deck. Remember that? Remember Harlem shorties? They were upper echelon. At least for Brooklyn. Then came the Dipset. DeCarlos, I appreciate you. Thank you, King. DeCarlos with that gift, that Cash App gifting. So we came up through a very defining era. It's hard, it's really hard to understand what was going down if you weren't there. You know, when the resources get on deck, when the production studio gets finished, we would definitely give you guys a peek into that world and bring you back into the time machine because, to be honest with you, it's a story that needs to be told. That whole era needs to be told. Like, everybody, if you go in the industry right now, 70% of the industry that's melanated come from that era. They come from the tunnel. They come from certain, cliques and whatnot. Yeah, shout out to Chi Ali. Chi Ali went to jail for a body, but Chi Ali came home and completely turned everything around. When you see my son, you see Chi Ali. So these are the street soldiers who have a connection to the streets, and they're bringing information to the streets where it's needed the most, to the prisons. They're going into places where certain people who are conscious are too conscious to go in. Or if they don't get a check, they're not going nowhere. You feel me? So these brothers and sisters, like my son, like Chi Ali, there's a few other brothers. There's a brother named Messiah, my brother Bon Allah Cortez. They go into the jail system. They go into the quote unquote trenches. They go to where they are warehousing our brothers and sisters, some of who are going to be some of the next thought leaders and some of the next quote unquote influencers, you know, in the future. You can't put that past these brothers and sisters. Cause I can name you a laundry list of people who came out of the fucking pokey and start getting busy. Came out of the goddamn Bing or came out of the pen and started busting a gun with their pen. You know what I mean? A. Rashid, he wrote 3 books, 3 novels while he was in purgatory. That's a fact. And all 3 of them are classics. Then he came home and started busting his gun with the pen, writing music, doing lectures, writing books, doing all kind of things creative. So nobody can't tell me that, oh, Brother Red, I can't do anything. I can't make it happen. I'm gonna be perturbed because, you know, I would say that I'm the wrong person to speak to because I'm a person who has been, life has conditioned me to make it happen. I sink or swim, brother. You know what I'm talking about? I don't have any options. I got children and I have a legacy and I got shit that I want to do before I tap out. You feel me? So I got work to do. So you telling me what you can't do and what you don't, you know what I mean? Like, what can I tell you? Like, you know, if you say that you can't do it, then you can't do it. It's as simple as that. And if you say that you can do it, then my G, you can do it. You know what I'm talking about? You can do it. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna stop you. Stop living. There's never been a time in history where a nigga came outside to get $1 and somebody ran and grabbed his wrist unless he was doing something illicit. There's never been a time in Negro history where you came outside and thought about how to get your rent that somebody came and locked you up for thinking about it. Because that's where the shit begins. And then you figure out a plan on a roadmap. You turn on your internal GPS, nigga, and you go to get the bag. So what are you talking? Who's in your way? We always coming up with these boogeymen. Oh, what the white man is closing doors on me. Build your own door, nigga. What are you talking about? You don't have access to wood? And a lot of you niggas got access to wood. Build your own door. Nothing can stop us. Talk to little, and maybe little Nas X got to talk to you niggas and pull up on a horse and tell you, can't nobody tell me nothing. Because they can't. We get in our own way. I go back to it again and again because of the programming, because we exist inside of a culture that's being manipulated and being controlled, because the brothers and sisters who participate in the culture, obviously and unfortunately and apparently, they don't have the testicular fortitude, nor do they have the knowledge that's needed to navigate and to own and to control their own destiny inside of said industry. The ones who can are complete standouts, such as a Nipsey Hussle, such as a Hova, what they're doing over there at Rock Nation at this point, such as you know, certain other and such as a Nas to a degree, what he's doing with the tech and whatnot. It's a few other people. But if you don't own yourself, then you can't even sit at the table, bruh. You don't own yourself. So that's what this is about. That's what moving forward into 2020, that's what this Ascension Protocol is about. Taking the examples that are being shown to you in HD and Technicolor right now, where no man you can't miss the shit. It's in your face. Taking the examples that are being shown to you and leveling up and coming up with solutions to these minute problems. Where's your algorithms? You feel me? You got to create new algorithms to solve these simple ass problems. Oh, Facebook is gonna ban niggas. Great. We needed our own platform to filter out that ratchetness and that bullshit that was going on them social medias. Now, Facebook could ban Red Pill, but Facebook can't ban Eduardo Eldorado selling goddamn puppy t-shirts to people in Thailand, because that's the only, I'll pop back up anonymous getting money in a whole nother niche market. I'm going to utilize social media as social network. Okay? You niggas been wasting your goddamn time on Facebook anyway. And you niggas starting to twerk on Instagram, they need to kick you off. You know what I'm talking about? Some of you niggas need to get banned off of the whole goddamn internet in the first place. So, I mean, but if they take you off for one platform, what do? You gonna sink, or you gonna go ahead and do like Africans do and build a raft out of some goddamn twigs and float over to where you need to go? So it's ways to build your own shit. That's not the end game. It ain't game over. You feel me? It's not game over. You won't be able to poke people that you went to high school with, you know what I mean? And slide in their DM with the drunk text late at night. But hey, you know, life goes on. But there are a number of alternatives that are already out there. So collectively, we just have to come to an agreement to say which one of them are we going to not jump on, which one of them are we going to buy shares in, which one of them are we going to own equity in, which one of them are we going to create our own goddamn interest group out of and then join. Talk black to me, because at this point we comfortable making Zuckerberg and a whole bunch of people with hook noses billionaires. We don't even know them. They don't even twerk for us. You understand? They don't even work for us. They don't even jerk for us. They don't even murk for us. Who are these people? But we're making them billionaires. So them niggas intervene. They're intervening on the insanity that black people still are participating in 2019. Because I promise you, a majority of the people on Facebook, even though they're disseminating information and waking people up and going up against, the algorithms, you know what I'm saying? And smashing down fake trolls and whatnot around the world and going toe to toe with alt-right to prove that they're the ancient Egyptians. Yeah, you niggas, you're not monetizing what it is that you're doing. So you're fucking hustling backwards anyway. Your eyeballs, the time that and I'm speaking to myself too. Don't let me get on no soapbox and act like my eyes don't be glued to the motherfucking Zuckerberg network and whatnot. And I've made money utilizing Facebook ads, SEO, and all of this other stuff, using Facebook for what it's supposed to be used for. And that's to make bags on motherfucking bags. And maybe we should be, maybe this whole situation with them, with this banning and whatnot, is going to wake up the right-minded one to say, oh, word, hold on, I'm not throwing all of this woke shit and all of this. I'm not trying to be pasta noose on Facebook. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be goddamn Hermes Trismegistus on Facebook. Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use Facebook for what it is. It's an online mall. I'm going to sell some niggas in Russia some shit. I'm going to do, you know what I mean? I'm going to sell some people in the hood something. I'm going to sell my people, in the temple something. I'll do something. Get your bread off of Facebook. That's the only way that we should be even on there at this point. We don't need to be on there throwing all of these ideas around. Share your articles, do what you do. But for the most part, the time that we spend on these social media platforms need to turn into social networks. We have enough numbers. We have enough people. We have enough individuals who are intellectual, and they're informed enough to know what it is that I'm talking about right now when I'm talking about social networks and utilizing all of because if we moved as a unit, it's all kind of millions of dollars to be made over the years. Millions of dollars, and you don't have to leave your goddamn, you don't got to leave your mama's basement. Millions of dollars to be made, especially if you move collectively versus individually. Inside this quote-unquote digital age, the losers are the niggas that are going to try to move as an individual. It's the collective that's winning. Look at your people. Look at the people that, people like the ADOS are trying to point fingers at. And this no offense, but I got to just show what's going on right here. They're shooting at, people are shooting at Africans. People are shooting at Jamaicans. People are shooting at Mexicans. People are shooting at Asians, like Koreans and these niggas. People are like, yo, they out here taking our money. They're out here taking our jobs. They're out here getting in the way of what we're trying to do. No, what are you talking about? Do you know what a lot of those people have in common, family? And this is no offense to anybody. Those people put family before anything. Those people are in America moving not as individuals, fam. Those people are moving as a unit. The continental African by way of Islam and even by way of Christianity, they are moving as a collective. The West African who is over here, the African that speaks French, they are moving as a collective. The Mexican who comes over here, he's coming over here like an ant. You don't know which one is the plug versus which one is Dora's father versus which one of them niggas cut lawns and whatnot. They're moving as a unit. They're inside of cribs 10 and 20 deep. The African is inside of cribs 10 and 20 deep. The Haitian is inside of cribs. The Jamaican is inside of cribs. And they work in multiple income streams. You call it jobs that you were out here saying that you deserve and whatnot, but they are tapping into income streams. So the income streams that they're identifying are income streams that, remember, these are skilled people who are skilled in trade because of what they were taught on the islands like Jamaica to be carpenters, engineers, and things of that nature, because these are the things that they're taught on their islands. So they come over here. Some of these people build ships. Some of these people build all kind of stuff on the islands prior to them coming over here. So they already have a skill set. So they're like, yo, I'm tapping into all of the income streams, because when they come into America, they have the understanding, understanding that this thing is open. It's an open source. It's open source. What does open source mean? Open source means, in computing language, that you could basically tweak it to do anything that you want it to do. That's what America, the algorithm of America's code is. Niggas call it the American dream. It's a code, but the code is open source. And people know if they come over here, they could tweak the code. And the best way to tweak the code is to collectively work against it. As the collective, it's all mathematical. So they're coming over here with simple math. If you got a 9 to 5 and you got a 5 to 8 and you got a 3 to 7 and you working all of these shifts, we're going to put some bread in a pot. And we know in a certain amount of months and then in a certain amount of years that we all going to be in a better place. I'm seeing the collective groups winning. Why is that? Why are the groups who put family first and they move as a unit, right? And they're not running around on some individual shit, me. Why is it that they're not homeless? Why is it that they not looking beat down and real bad in these streets? Why is it that they not asking other people for help? So obviously something is going wrong, because the formula that we are using inside of our culture is individualism. You understand? That came about during that quote unquote Puffy inspired, it's all about the Benjamins, individualism, tunnel era and whatnot. That created the individual. Okay? And then later on, they started bringing the gangs back and whatnot and started getting into that group mentality. But that individual, that shit was running wild. And that's the shit that's what's breaking us. We're holistic people. We're a village like people. We're a collective tribal people. We're not fragmented like the European is. But now the Roman or the European has us in a fragmented state where we are, it could be 3 niggas together. They're gonna find a way to get rid of 1 nigga to make it just 2. And then those 2 is gonna find a way to break up. So we're not magnetic anymore. We're actually the opposite of magnets, because we're in a repelling stage. Niggas is repellents. So the nigga frequency is a frequency, because it's a destructive energy and whatnot. It's a low frequency, and that low frequency is it's not electric. It's repellent. It pushes everything away from it. So the hoods are empty now. Niggas got pushed out of them, pushed away. Yo, I be going to a lot of neighborhoods, and I'm not trying to offend nobody's hood and whatnot, because I'm not a judgmental person. I'm a correspondent and I'm an observer. So I was observing when I was in LA that the streets were mad empty, right? I was observing that when I was in Baltimore, there was empty streets. I was observing that when I was in Detroit, there were blocks and blocks and blocks that was bare empty, no sign of life. But because I'm tapped in, I'm like, yo, I could feel the spirit still here. And I know that these areas were booming with life before. You know what I'm saying? But I know when certain areas become, it's just, it begins, when they begin to deteriorate. You know what I mean? It's almost like that Endgame thing, like they showed you in the Avengers movie, where it was like mad empty land, open space and whatnot. Sometimes it feels like that when I'm even in my hood, even in Brooklyn and whatnot. It feels like Endgame because there's so many people missing. And a handful of us, them niggas is fat and nasty like Thor. You feel me? And everybody's just carrying on and doing what they do and trying to cope with the PTSD of losing so many people in such amount of time. Thanos snap, my nigga. So niggas is still coping with that. And then trying to find examples and other people that are outside the immediate circle to remind them of people who they once had around them that were very great. You know what I mean? And inspiring and whatnot. So they see that in other people on YouTube, or they see that in other people who are popping up, pulling up on their horses and whatnot, ready to get down with the derby, ready to start the race. But these niggas get disqualified, like maximum security. Their horses is falling in the middle of the race. It's like this community that we in. Look at what it was 3 years ago. Look at how many people were considered players or runners or considered to be in the race 3 years ago. Now look at it. They know who snapped the fucking thing, who caught the infinity rings, who got all of the rings and made the finger snap. Because it's a handful of niggas left. It's a handful left, fam. It's an end game. It ain't what it used to be. I'm seeing recommend videos. The shit look like memorials. It's like, where are they now? The YouTube people got pushed out of the way by the Instagram people. There's a wave on Instagram of scholars that never touched YouTube. And they trending real heavy. They doing magnanimous numbers if this is a numbers game. They not from YouTube. They not from the community. But they got the eyes and the ears and the hearts and the minds of the people. So, it's all a cycle. The pendulum swings. That's what this is. You got to be able to go with the cycles and see and know what you're seeing and whatnot and pay attention to it. But a lot of emperors don't got no clothes out there. You niggas just trying to put clothes on them, but they butt ass naked, washed up. That is a fact. They have let you down, and because you niggas feel sorry for them, you be trying to hoist them up, but they're done. Finito. You know what I'm talking about? Queuing. Yo, somebody call my nigga Sosa. Somebody get Sosa on the line. Young Baphomet. Somebody get Chief Keef. It's finito for these niggas. And that's a fact. You can't unsee and undo. And no. They ain't no snap, nigga. You're done. So it's just a shame. It's a fucking shame. The elders who came before this, they didn't have that kind of shelf life. They didn't have that kind of... These niggas' shelf life is like 3 videos. The elders, Man like Dr. Africa, man like Dr. Ben, man like Dr. Sabi, woman like man like Dr. Henry Clark, woman like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, man like Dr. Blair, man like Hakeem Bey. Like, we talking about shelf life. We talking about a whole library. We talking about 300 plus lectures, 400 plus lectures, 20, 50 books. Man like Bobby Hemmett, man like Phil Valentine, 8-hour, 10-hour, 11-hour lectures, 30, 300, 350 plus in their library. Their catalog is extensive. We are entering the age of content is king. We are ushering ourselves into the age of where catalogs are going to be the new value. Your catalog is going to feed you for life. Mechanical royalties and all kind of other things by way of the blockchain. So the work that you put in your catalog and your digital footprint and all of these things are going to be valuable. With the banning of Alex Jones on Facebook by these digital behemoths who own and basically house the content that I'm talking about on their servers, we may face a day where all of our master teachers and our scholars are considered dangerous. That is a reality. That is an alternative reality that does not exist to this day, but it could come about. It could come about where this could be Fahrenheit 451, or this could be 1984, or this could be one of those goddamn movies that niggas was watching, and your equilibrium and your master teachers, your scholars, the ones who you identified as the ones who have brought the truth and shooken the pillars of the matrix. It can come a time where remember, because when Amazon jumped in, then I was like, oh, this is war. Facebook is one thing. Facebook and Instagram is one thing. When Amazon banned Farrakhan's 3 books, it was a declaration of digital warfare. You don't understand what's going on right now. This is a retrograde. Mind you, Pluto, this is a retrograde. Things are going crazy. But this right here, the fact that they banned his books and the fact that they banned his content off, they're going to scrub him from the internet if they can. The fact that they banned him off of Facebook and Instagram simultaneously, all of the fan pages, everybody, they banned Milo, Alex Jones, and they banned the dude with the British accent and a few other people. Those are lackeys. Don't bet your bottom dollar they'll give them their shit back. They probably could get their shit back in appeals. It's really the Farrakhan thing that has people, because Amazon jumped in. So you have $3 trillion or billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar entities that are coming together to form Voltron to stifle and to stop the dissemination of information is critical, and that is critiquing the quote-unquote European, their upbringing, their history, their quote-unquote mission, everything that their DNA, their molecular structure, all of this stuff, their genome, whatever it is. They are saying, you know what? We can begin a crusade, or what is known as the Inquisition. This is the same thing that happened during the Inquisition. How many people saw on my page, on my Instagram page, that I had the glove from the Spaniard out of Spain? There was the same thing as the Infinity Stone. That comes from out of Spain during the Inquisition, during the Reconquista. It was the same exact replica of Thanos in his Infinity Gauntlet. This is a crusade story. This is a crusader story. It comes from those days. So once again, we find ourselves, with our adversaries doing what they do. The Jew, you know what I mean? And the quote unquote European from over there, the Christendom, working together. That's the Crusades. That's the Inquisition. That's the book burning. That's the banning of certain things. That's the quote unquote heretics and whatnot. That's the mass stake burnings. You know what I mean? They're assassinating characters. They're out here catching bodies. They're assassinating characters. They called him dangerous in parentheses, like it's off-white. Okay? They put it in parentheses. Yes, it's called, it was called the incorruptible hand in Spain. The incorruptible hand. Go and look up the incorruptible hand. Then go and the incorruptible hand and put Google incorruptible hand Spain. And you're gonna see what I'm talking about. That they took the infinity gauntlet from the incorruptible hand. It is an exact replica. Okay, and then read about the tools of the Inquisition, and then read about the Reconquista. It's the reconquering of Europe from Africans, Berbers, and Arabs. Okay, it is an epic war like the one that you're watching on Game of Thrones between Cersei and Jon Snow and the motherfucking Dragon Lady. Commercial break. Shout out to my peoples at Giza. This is a black-owned company. Talk black to me. Okay. Giza hooked me up with some fire. Fire. Look at these lightning bolts. Because I'm electrifying. I'm talking about. Talk black to me. So shout out to Giza. This is a commercial break while y'all look that up. You know what I mean? We in class tonight. But tell them I sent you at Giza. You see this simple thing right here? This is called advertisement. This is called affiliate marketing. This is how you make bread. This is how you get to open up an income stream. Yeah, the Air Giza Max, baby. I didn't need, this is not, there's nobody in the middle of us that's European that's dealing with the transaction. Here it goes. This is how you make each other millions of dollars. You promote the products that you make, and then you sell shares in your company or equity in your company, so everybody has a vested interest. And even before it gets to that, we just, if we like it and it's fly, then we support it. Because we can't talk about nothing if we're not supporting each other, right? It definitely starts right there. So, what hoodie would those kicks go from? The crook and the flails. These will go with the crook and the flails. And these will also go with the conscious one. The one that says conscious across the chest. In red and white. Yeah, plenty of the red, plenty of them hoodies go with that. So just pull up Giza on Google. Giza Olympius. Olympius. Let me show you. GizaOlympius.com. Yeah, man. We on deck. We got the stones. You know what I'm saying? We also got the stones for sale. This is Stone Love. Coming black at you. You know what I'm talking about? We got the stones. Hold on. Hello? Stop smoking. What are you talking about? No. I'm doing this. No. Dr. Sabi smoked. Yeah. This is some Irie weed, man. What are you talking about? Not that shit that Wesley was telling you don't smoke. Yeah. There's some Irie. Yeah, there's some Bomb Z. Okay, peace. Yeah, we got stones for sale. We got them phones. You know, we got the clusters for your altar. So, you know, commercial break. That was our commercial. That's our hood commercial break. Hit us up. You know, we can make it happen through the Cash App. Hit me on the gram and whatnot so we can make that transaction and we'll make it go through. EL_PHILTHMOOR. If Empress B, she'll put my Instagram handle in the chat room. And if you want to get that, if you want to get some gemstones, or if you want to get the Giza sneakers, or if you want to get the detox blood tea, all you got to do is hit me up. Blue Pill got a whole bunch of products too, and he'll let you know about them tomorrow on Tough Talk Tuesdays. Make sure that you are in Tough Talk Tuesdays with Blue Pill and Ken Bripson tomorrow on Know the Ledge Media, same back channel, I believe around the same time. I made sure that I did this early today because I don't want to do Melanin Monday on 11/11 and it's the first day of the week and y'all going to sleep at 2 a.m. That's inconsiderate. You know what I mean? What's that? A nocturnal, right? Owl. I be on my late night shit, but I have to be mindful. So we want to push those shows to 10 o'clock so we could get out of here by 11 something before midnight. Okay? Oh, somebody said they need this blood tea? Yeah, and this is a detox too. Okay? This is Dr. Afua. All right? Dr. Afua, which is our sister Lauren Vanderpool's her mate. Okay? So he has those on deck. There's a whole bunch of flavors. But yeah, we'll have the site. Oh, how can I forget? I have to make an announcement tonight. But we'll have it on our mark125th.com site, the mark125th.com site. That site is going to have an official launch coming up very soon. But we have an official launch that I want to announce tonight. Chef Aku is the brother's name. Thank you, Casey. Chef Aku is the brother's name. Tonight I want to make the announcement about the Facts 2020 website that we just put up. Okay, facts2020.org. It's very easy to remember. Facts, the number 2020.org, and you can go on the site and you can. I need you to go on. Not you could. I need you to go on the site. Okay, and leave your information if the Facts Initiative and the Facts 2020 is something that you want to be a part of. There's an infographic and there's information and there's also a breakdown of our quarterly projections and what it is that we're doing and how far we are basically forecasting this Facts 2020 initiative. All right. So go and visit the site. Make sure you sign up if you want to be down with the Facts 2020 initiative. And like I said, this summer, the campaign officially begins. We're going to kick this thing off and, you know, in KTL fashion, you know what I mean? Like we always do, you know, we're just going to raise the bar with this one. So make sure y'all sign up. It's free to sign up. Just leave me your email. It's a landing page and whatnot. Leave me information. You know, it's about getting the information because like I said, there's a purge taking place, okay? And this purge that's taking place is aimed at the social media outlets, right? Not the social network outlets, okay? The social media outlets, all right? So, okay, I just got a new subscriber. Shout out to Brother Julian, the first Facts 2020 subscriber to the site. I appreciate you. So, okay, I got another one. Kaylin Hall. Thank you, Kaylin Hall. I appreciate you. Thank you for signing up. All right. Yes, Ramadan Maburak, Taekwon Lowry, Carla Hampton. I appreciate you. Happy Ramadan to everybody that's out there in the building. You know, salute to everybody that's starting their fast, that's starting their prayers, that's starting their discipline, that's starting all of the things to get them in alignment. Dario, I appreciate you. Thank you for signing up. Um, is there a link for the tea? The link for the tea, hit me on my Instagram and I'll give you the link for the tea. Shayna Brown, I appreciate you. Thank you. Everybody that's signing up, I appreciate y'all. We're going to get these numbers up because, like I said, 10,000 of us, we're going to change the world. Quietly, though. We don't got to put this all. This is not about arrogance. This is not about bragging and boasting. But you already know. You already know the formulas that we already have shown you with the Facts Initiative. The formulas that we've already, the fact that it's, let me just say, I don't want to even get too crazy. I don't even want to get too crazy. But thank you, Casey, for signing up. Thank you, Miss Dupree. Oh man, it's just a flood of signups right now. I can't even read that fast. Quentin Harrison, yes. And I'll be sending a lot of information to the family that's signing up, keeping you updated and letting you know when these dates for the Facts 2020 campaign will start and where the places that we're going to be going. Because I promise you, look at what's going on right now with Louis Farrakhan. It would be asinine, ass backwards, and completely counter evolutionary for me to not say to myself, you know what? I'm not gonna waste any time because what they're showing me at every turn in this quote unquote experience that we're all collectively going to is this time is of the essence. And then there's no time to waste. Every day that you lollygag and every day that you basically, treat like it's just any old day. No, you have to live every single day like it's your last. Every single day, every single day. It does not even, it's a dishonor to your greatness to not live to be great every single day. No fucking days off. You strive for greatness every day. And you make sure when you wake up, you like, yo, today could be my last. And I'm not, like I'm saying, I don't want to tell people how to think and, steer you in any direction. But, maybe this is not to be, you know what I'm saying? Maybe this is not to be tried at home. But when you wake up and you treat every day like it's your last, I promise you the experience is going to be different. It just hit differently. You do epic shit. And what the aim that I have, the vision, the visionary that I am, and even the visionaries in my team, we want to bring that reality to the forefront. We want to make that a reality that where collectively we could wake up every day and not only live it like it's our last day, but have the ability to live it like it's your last day. What if you every day you got $10,000? What do you mean, Red Pill? What if every day when you woke up, you was guaranteed to have $10,000 in your account? No ifs, ands, or buts because you belong to a 10,000 member network. What if you woke up every day knowing? Now, we ain't even talking about when you working for somebody, because at that point, when you getting 10 racks a day, you're not working for nobody. You know what I'm talking about? You working for Make-A-Wish Foundation. You making shit happen. So what if you could wake up to 10? What if you every day that you woke up, you was guaranteed $10,000 a day? Would you be able to live every day or that day like it was your last? I think you would. I think that that's not just a statement, live every day like it's your last day. I think it's possible that we can put ourselves in a position where we can actually live every single day like it's our last day. Thousands of us. Thousands of us. And it's not hard. The most revolutionary thing to ever come to our people, because you got to remember, I'm the one who came forward and said the evolution will be digitized in 2014. Go and Google it. It's a 2.5 hour lecture. And I explain in the evolution will be digitized what technology was. I broke it down. I gave it its African origins and everything through the binary code system and all of this stuff. And technology, you got to see technology for the answers to your quote unquote, not just your prayers. And remember, it's the moon tonight. It's the Taurus moon. It's the new moon in Taurus tonight. This is time to cast the spells. We're casting a spell right now. A good one, a prosperity one. Taurus, the bull. But it's also about money and not milk. Dr. Africa broke that down yesterday. Somebody asked him about almond milk. He said almonds don't got titties. It's almond juice. It's coconut juice. You understand? It's not milk. The only thing that has milk has breasts, and there's no animal on the planet other than humans that drinks milk from another mammal. That's something that Europeans have taught. You understand? That's what Dr. Africa said. So instead of losing yourself in all of the distractions about this and about that, no, you have to be proactive. And the proactivity that I'm taking in my hands is I'm going to go ahead and sign 10,000 of us up to this Facts 2020 thing. You know what I'm talking about? And we're going to make some things happen. And we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to do it. And we're going to simplify it to the most simplest compound that your membership is going to just guarantee you. Because if you could put $1 out a day, then you could live your day. You could live like a king and a queen. And you could live in a place where you've created your own reparations through what? Through the collective. And I'm not, and you know, and I'm going to end it on that. I'm going to end it on that. You know what I mean? It's a lot more to talk about, but for the members of Facts 2020, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Don't doubt yourself. You're not going to doubt me. Now when Jupiter is in retro, nigga, and it's expanding, fuck is you talking about? Pluto is in retro. You think we're going to hold back on planting seeds and speaking things into existence? So I speak into existence that we will make $10,000 and more a day as a collective network, and we will live every single day as it was our last. Thousands of us, and that's a factory. Okay. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that on a Taurus new moon, on a goddamn Saturn, a Saturn retrograde, and a Pluto retrograde. Nigga, where's little Nas X? Nigga can't tell me nothing. I'm coming in on that black horse. Philip, the lover of horses. Remember, that's my name. Philip is the lover of horses. So that horse energy, that shit speaks to me. And we are the original. We started the Kentucky Derby, nigga. We mastered the horse. This is something new to them. We were the original cowboy. We were running them down. What are you talking about? They couldn't outrun us. We was in Spain with the equestrian. We were the ones who introduced equestrians. We were the original horse riders in Spain. El Cid was going up against us. That's us. We got horsepower, nigga. We got horsepower. You know what I'm saying? That's us. Nigga, we the nigga on the polo shirt. That's why we was gravitating to the low. Because that horse life, that's us. Buffalo Soldiers, dreadlock Rasta. Me drink McGinnis, man. You make me back strong. Me drink McGinnis. Don't judge me. So we got work to do. Algorithm is called algorithm for a reason because it's a solution. And I got algorithms. My cloth is an algorithm. Fuck is you talking about, nigga? It ain't just cloth, nigga. It's algorithm. It's code, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? I got code talk. This shit is like the Matrix. I'm really in the Matrix. This is numbers falling down, nigga. This is code talk. I'm unlocking some shit out here. That's a fact. I'm the key maker. And, you know, Morpheus, Morpheus, Blue Pillar. This is a movie, man. You can't tell me I'm not living out the movie Matrix. Remember the twins in the Matrix that was shooting niggas? Huh? Remember that? You can't tell me that this ain't the Matrix and Red and the Blue Pill ain't living the example of what the fucking Red and the Blue Pill is. You can't tell me that. You can't convince me that this ain't what it is, nigga. Because you can't show me anything else but that. That's a fact. I don't exist outside of this shit, nigga. Are you crazy? How a nigga gonna come into the movie 2 hours once the movie been made, nigga? What is you talking about? It been in production. You niggas just came in the fucking movie in the 8th season. You like the nigga with Cersei. How somebody gonna come in the middle of the movie and act like the movie is about them? That's not how this shit works. So it says live your motherfucking destiny. Be who you are. You are who you was before you got here. It's about being able to, man, know thyself. It's called about finding out your greater purpose and living that shit. Where's the book, man? Where's that book? The Superior Man shit. That's a Bible right there. That's a fucking Bible. Live out your destiny. Who the fuck are you? What are you doing here? What did you come here to do? How can I help you? You know what I'm saying? Is there a door you need open? You know what I mean? Let's knock it down. Nigga, you know how many fucking doors we opened up? Stop playing. Go into the archives, nigga. Do your homework. Run my credit. Yeah, I gotta read this book, brothers. I might get into a few pages tonight before we wrap this thing up, because, you know, people appreciated the last time we was reading from it. Like, what are we talk? Like, what is this? What are we doing here? You said send you a copy. They got the audio book on YouTube. They got an 8-hour and a 5-hour one. You could listen to that and go to sleep to it. It's programming. I was listening to it last night, this morning. Yeah. Just laying there soaking shit up. It's a bunch of reaffirmations. What does that mean? That means some shit that I already knew, but I might have forgot. And sometimes when you hear, thank you, Samara, I appreciate you, love you. Sometimes when you hear some shit that's familiar, you take notice and you like, oh, hold on. That nigga's talking to me. And he got some cloth. It's a European. It's a white boy, don't be alarmed. He got some cloth. I wear Italian fabrics. You know what I'm talking about? French fabrics. I ain't a victim. I know that they got that shit from me though. I know that that superior man shit was some Islamic, Moorish, you know what I mean? Yeah, Eastern philosophy with with some Roman twang on it, like the laws of power and all of that. Nigga, that's a remix. What is you talking about? What do you mean? That's a remix, and that's watered down. And they Romanized it and gave it all kind of Roman perspectives and whatnot and shit that don't really apply to you because you a Carthaginian. Where's Hannibal's book of fucking warfare? Being that they study all of his war moves in West Point and all of these elite war colleges, Hannibal Barker and his goddamn war strategies are still being studied. So what the fuck? I don't want to read 48 Laws of Power. Where's Hannibal Barker's book? Talk black to me. Where's that? Is it one of the books in the Vatican? Do I have to pull a GoFundMe together to go and buy it? Is it $1 million on Amazon? Who gonna write it? Since you niggas look like Hannibal, you might as well think like him. Well, write his book. Yeah, go and check out KT the Arch Degrees live, where he was laying it down about Dr. Sabi. You understand? Representing and doing what needs to be done by putting out information that needs to be heard. So, you know. Shout out to Mr. G, who was on Brother Rich's channel. Make sure y'all check out that interview with Mr. G, the man who spent the last years of Dr. Sabi's life with him and has a book coming out talking about that road that he walked with Dr. Sabi. There's a chapter in that book called Finding Philip, where they talk about Dr. Sabi was looking for Brother Philip, who is Brother Red Pill, myself. And, you know, it's an interesting book. It's gonna give you a greater insight as to the giant and the man and the man, the myth, the legend of Dr. Sabi. All right, so check that out. Yeah, like I'm not sitting around on YouTube. I'm not sitting around on Instagram Live. I'm not sitting around on niggas' Twitter feed. I'm not playing that game. You understand? I'm gonna utilize the internet for what the fuck is here for, and that's to organize and to build and to get millions of people from the corners of the planet who are resonating on a frequency similar to mine's and who want to fucking win, who don't see themselves as some goddamn victims, and who actually want to do something in real time and collect a few checks from other places. But you know, people want to travel, people want to do business, people want to go to China, people want to go to Asia, people want to go to Asia Major, Asia Minor, people want to go to the castles in Spain, people want to go to goddamn Mali, people want to go to Nigeria. And there's nothing stopping us. We have access to do all of that at the snap of a fingers. Nigga, you talking about you got Arab money, nigga, I got ancestor money. Fuck is you talking about, man? If you got some ancestor money, this is the time to burn that shit tonight, though. You know what I'm talking about? Put your spell on that shit. Put your mantra. Collectively, nobody can stop us. We're going to eradicate the myth and the misconception about somebody besides you being in your way. Okay? Because once you decide that you are going to get out of your own way, that's when the motherfucking games begin. Right now, this is orientation. Nigga, we've been in orientation for 10 years, goddammit. But at what point are you going to just sit there and not make a move? And not turn this thing into what it needs to be turned into? You know? Yes, Dr. Sabi loved him some marijuana. You know what I mean? And Dr. Africa has some very interesting things to say about marijuana last night, about the fact that, you know, it could be drinking as a tea versus being burnt as a plant, because once it's burnt, it's actually a drug. And the quote unquote CBD and all of that stuff is extracted when it's actually burnt up. So the cannabinoid is basically the only thing that you're receiving when smoking it. You understand? And like I said, all things in moderation, okay? All things in moderation, and it's definitely it's you have to have knowledge about what it is that you're partaking in before you partake in it. You feel me? So you're not blindly or ignorantly abusing anything, and you can wind up a slave, or you could wind up a fiend, or you could wind up under the quote unquote the grapple of a substance, and it can have a hold on you. So, you know, I'm just sharing that with y'all because when he dropped it, I was like, yeah, that's true. I'm gonna start drinking this shit as a tea. You know what I mean? Like the smoking it part, it doesn't have to be it could be moderate. It could be regulated, you know. And I'm definitely not fucking with the government sponsored shit. Like I don't, you know, that's a no-no. That's a definite no-no. You know, that is a definite no-no. So, you know, a lot of research and a lot of quote unquote, we got to have more talking points, especially when this wave of legalization and, you know, the marijuana boom begins to flood and begins to take over uh the Black America, you know, the conversations that a lot of people are having and whatnot, and the fact that people are gonna feel like it's just a free for all to hop into smoking marijuana here, but not realizing the stuff that's being sold to them might be some government grown GMO, completely manufactured type of bud, you know, and the fact that the hemp is legalized should be something that we should definitely be focusing on more so because of its properties and because of, you know, what it means for us, those of us who are into, you know, building something and getting things going and manufacturing and ownership. You know what I mean? Being able to make your own clothes, being able to make hemp concrete, make your own homes, make your own, you know, shelter and whatnot. Being able to make your own, tap into multiple industries with the 300 commercial uses for hemp. So hemp is a wave. And I would encourage the family to tap into the hemp wave before they tap into the marijuana wave or even the CBD wave. I would say go into hemp first and then weigh it out. Get some power in hemp. You know what I mean? They're gonna have a lot of niggas chasing that marijuana train, and a lot of people are not gonna get on it, unfortunately. You know. So yeah. But we're gonna wind it down. Like I said, you know, I don't want to be up here super duper late. I know people got things that they need to do. You know what I mean? As it gets late and whatnot. So we're gonna wind it down. Shout out to the family on the West Coast where it's not that late. You know what I mean? Like I said, we will be out there in June. I think at the end of June, Mama Pill is coming to LA. Red and Blue Pill is coming to LA. We're gonna be doing some big things. I believe KT may even be on his way out there with us as well. You know, all of that talk about stocks, all of the talk about day trading, like all of the stuff that we've been talking about, manufacturing, access to factories in China, you know, all of these things are part of the Facts 2020 initiative. What we're doing with Facts 2020, which for the family may not be familiar, it's an acronym. It stands for food, arms, art, clothing, technology, transportation, shelter, and strategy. Okay? This is an initiative. This is a collective, a network of multiple different businesses, business entities, small businesses, brothers and sisters who are even, you know, in incubators and accelerator programs so they could become businesses because you have to, you know, you have to be reared. You have to be risen up. You dig what I'm saying? Through an incubator program, through an accelerator program with professionals and people who can help you with your paperwork, people who can help you with your research, your trademarking, people who can help you with your prototyping, people can help you with your manufacturing, people who can help you with your marketing and all kind of other things, lawyers and people of that nature who can steer you in the direction of, global competition. Not just some shit on the internet. You know what I mean? Not just something in the hood, you know, global dominance, because this is a global market. And like I explained in the beginning of the show, I'm identifying myself as a hip hop, a child of hip hop. Okay. I am the culture. So wherever the culture is flourishing, I'm going to go into said market and I'm gonna flourish with it. You feel me? And I understand products and services, and I understand filling voids, and I understand I'm intelligent enough to understand how to go into any market and to integrate. You know, it just comes with the territory. So the world is the playground now. It's not, this shit is not local, fam. It's the shit done changed. It's a shift, bruh. It's a paradigm shift that has taken place. The game is global. Like I said, we will be in China in the summertime. And if anybody wants to come and they got 5 racks, you can hit me up. You feel me? If you want to come and you got 5 racks, you can hit me up. That's how much it's gonna cost for the whole trip. And then you gotta have some bread to come out there with. So, you know, let's make it happen. We ain't doing China's in Africa. Nigga, China's in Chinatown too. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? That's the Manchurian, bro. That's the Mongolian. We've been trading with them. That's the Silk Road. What are you talking about? Those are historically traders with us. We've been building with them and getting money with them and creating a product, a whole line of products and all kind of stuff. What is you saying? Because they're in Jamaica and China, I mean in Africa, you're not gonna, that's not stopping you from buying everything that you bought out of Walmart, Target, and everything else is made in China. So the market is open. We're not gonna steer you wrong. We're even gonna introduce you to our traveling, businessman, a brother who's done extensive business in China over the years and has a lot of connections. He's a part of the network, and he'll be introduced to the Facts 2020 members. So we have food, art, all right? The art that we speak of is multiple industries where art is at the head of the industry, such as the comic book, such as the quote unquote painting, such as graphic artists, those who are out here designing for companies such as Nike, I'm talking about, such as Ralph Lauren, all of these design houses and things of that nature, fashion designers, artists, because artists and arts and sciences are the quote unquote core to any high civilization. It's your arts and sciences. How advanced are those? So we're going to be exploring Afrofuturism because you have a futurist with an afro in front of you. And Afrofuturism is something that we're going to dive into collectively, tap into that $1 billion market. Uh, we are encouraging our brothers and sisters who are graphic artists. We encouraging our brothers and sisters who are martial artists. We encouraging brothers and sisters who are tag artists. We encouraging brothers and sisters who are tattoo artists. Remember, art is a very broad genre, and art appreciates in value and time on all scales and on all quote unquote platforms, whether it may be on a canvas or whether it's on skin or whether it's on a wall spray painted. We have art that increases in value. So clothing is the C of facts. Clothing stands for clothes, the clothing industry. The fact that each one of us that are part of this network, we wear clothes. That's something that we have in common, that we all wear t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, jackets, pants, sneakers, and hats. What say you if we all were designers of every single article of clothing that we were currently wearing? You don't got to throw away your closet. There's no, we're not saying burn your, burn your Banana Republic. We're not making you do that. We're not saying throw away the Old Navy, but we're saying that the clothing that you will currently be wearing, that is going to be of high quality from a plethora of melanated designers that are part of this network, they're going to be A1. And you ain't even going to want to wear, the U.S. Polo Club and shit like that. You know what I mean? You might even put down a designer. We got our brother Ra Omar. He got the comedic designer. You know what I mean? He got the silks, he got the leathers. You know, there are couture brands. We got Kings County Couture. There are couture brands in this industry right now that can satisfy people's needs who want luxury, all the way down to people who need baby clothes or who just want regular urban t-shirts or streetwear t-shirts. You feel me? Like all of that is covered. I know hundreds of brands right now, and each one of them is fire. Fire. So the C is also for coding, okay? The C is also for cryptocurrency, okay? So that is a whole market that we're going to be introducing. We're going to be teaching the people about it. We're going to have professionals inside of the network. We're going to be also trading and making money with cryptocurrency with brothers and sisters that are inside of the cooperative platform of decoding, because the way that facts is set up, you have to know. I'm going to break down platform cooperatives. Think co-ops, all right? These are platform cooperatives. It's the way that you could basically build up different networks on top of each other, but at the same time merge these networks into a digital online collective where you could do monumental things. Okay, so now it's time to bring our talent into one network, into a conglomerate, into our own Facebook. You know what I mean? We don't need Facebook. We don't need the gram. Because, nigga, we are the gram. We the dope. You know what I'm saying? We the gram. We more than the gram. So, the C in coding stands for the group of coders that we'll have working with us from all around the world, brothers and sisters who've been reaching out to me, who are app developers, building with the brother Idris Sandu when we were just in LA. That's the brother who was the business partner of Nipsey Hussle, and he was also the one who brought the idea and also was able to execute the Marathon store being a smart store. But at the same time, he also was highlighted for creating the Explorer page on Instagram. Okay, and he works with Apple and things of that nature. So the brother is multi-talented. All right, African brother. So we have what are known as white hats, black hats, coders. You know what I'm saying? People who are the designers or the architects in the Matrix. Remember the architect in the Matrix? He was a coder. He was able to switch the code and whatnot. He was able to manipulate the code. And by manipulating the code, he was able to move the doors. He was able to bring new characters in. He was able to do all kind of stuff because the modern day code writers or the modern day coders are masters of universes that they're creating with numbers and codes and whatnot. These people are sorcerers of the modern day. Okay, they are creating code, but that code is creating digital worlds. Nobody knows where cyberspace is. It's being created in zeros and ones. Is being created by code, mathematical equations that we broke down in the lecture that we did, the evolution will be digitized. We broke down that the zeros and ones go all the way back to West African divination systems, where when they're throwing the quote unquote cowrie shells, when they're throwing the pennies or the bones and whatnot, that's zeros and ones. Okay, that's yes and no. All right, that's computer language. That's the binary language, the binary code. You got the I Ching. You understand? You have the I Ching and the variations of the numbers and things of that nature. That's what we're talking about. So the reason why the quote unquote continental African in Africa right now ain't even think about coming to America. The one over there, there's a whole continent full of technopreneurs. Look it up. There's a whole continent full of technopreneurs. Look it up. And they're young, and they're getting busy over there. It's time we get busy over here. So we're gonna make that happen. We got the app trap house. You feel me? You know what I mean? And we're gonna have things equivalent to black girls coding and whatnot. You know, for our young sisters and our sisters and our brothers and whatnot, because they're out here. So the T is technology. Okay, the T is technology. We're gonna show how technology can be a problem solver to 99 problems that we have. We could show how technology could disrupt this quote unquote white boogeyman that everybody's running scared from, and they forfeiting all of their goddamn gold medals to. Right? We need to be coming out the ring like Mike Tyson. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas is coming out like Martin. You know, no. Stop forfeiting your power. Stop giving these people so much credit. They don't deserve it. They're not doing anything but they're catching a few stains on innocent people who's mad docile. You know what I mean? Like, stop giving them credit, bro. They're exhibiting the highest forms of inferiority complexes and fear that I've ever seen in my 800,456 years on this planet. You know what I mean? Like, there's videos with them, and they was only here 3% of that time. There's videos of them shaking in your presence. There's videos of them just wilding out and then blaming it on jump nerves when both of it is true. So, I mean, they're getting too much credit, and we're making it a crime to give each other credit. You know, we're making it a crime. We're making it a sin. We're making it a questionable act to ever to give each other credit. There's no credit unions in this hood. You know what I mean? Niggas ain't credit checking each other in these hoods, in these streets, on these platforms or whatever. So we should all work on that. You know what I mean? There's a new social credit system and whatnot, and we need to, we'll get more familiar with that inside of this platform. But the time is now. We living in the now. I ain't talking about some shit we gonna do next week. No, we here right now. Facts2020.org, because it's an organized body. It's not a comm. You know what I mean? It's not a comm. It's not a community. It's an organization, because when we organize, we're going to rise. Right? Wait for that t-shirt. Wait for it. When we organize, we rise. And I'm gonna be a humble servant, and I'll show you better than I can tell you that when we organize, and organize is simply a collection of emails. That's the first step of organize. 10,000 emails. That's the first step. That ain't pulling no teeth. That ain't marching on nobody's lawn. That ain't getting your calf muscles and your Fitbit worked out. That's not making no goddamn picket signs. You didn't have to put on your American Apparel jogger set. No. All you got to do is send your email. And the people who are sending your email, make sure you have a talent and a skill that's somewhat activated. I already named the genres. Don't sign up and be like, yo, I don't like this. Look, food, art, arms, clothing, coding, culture, technology, transportation, shelter, strategy. If that doesn't speak to what you're about, then this conversation has nothing to do with you and yours. You know what I'm saying? As simple as that. You know, this is something, this is for a niche market. This is an initiative aimed at a group of individuals who identify and resonate with one of those, markets. And like I said, go on the website. The information about what it is and what we're doing is right there. But this is something that we've been working on for years and years and years. This is not no overnight thing. We've been working and perfecting this thing over years. But now technology has advanced and it's stepped up. So when 2020 hits, you're not going to catch any one of us lacking. We ain't going to be asking no questions. We ain't going to be waiting for nobody to do nothing for us. We're not waiting for no presidential results. None of that shit. When 2020 comes, we're going to have clear vision and we're going to be living every single day like it's our last. You know what I mean? And it's doable. The revolutionary act that came forward, I was saying earlier, where the ancestors have blessed us, is called Cash App. I speak about it in the lecture, The Evolution Will Be Digitized. I said, Cash, there's going to come a time where you're going to be able to press one on your phone, and that's going to be equivalent to $1. I said that all the way back then. Go and watch the goddamn. I got my shit timestamped. I got proof. Nigga, I got witnesses. I got lectures from 2014 speaking about everything that's going on to this fucking day right now at this moment. Like, and that's not being braggadocious. But you gotta go and check that out. Cause I was like, the minute they come with technology where you could do that, you can do you could implement what is known as the 1 minute millionaire. You could implement what is known as problem solving, and you could build up a lot of quote unquote budgets. You could build up a lot of quote unquote you could buy property. You could open up businesses every day. You could secure, let's just say that there's a group of 1,000 people and they're like, yo, in Atlanta, there's a storefront or there's a property for sale. But first and foremost, there's a storefront where you could basically put this money down and you got keys to a spot. There's a certain square footage and whatnot. And then all of us who belong to this network, we could start putting all of our stuff in these stores. So the artists, you get to put your art for sale. The people who got clothes, you get to put your clothes and stuff for sale. The people who got horticulture and whatnot, or the people who are in the food network and whatnot, you get to put some of your foods for sale. And then you opening up all of these different co-ops or all of these different storefronts or all of these different markets and whatnot all around places where people who are in this network live. This is how you stimulate your economy. This is how you start to generate and circulate and build up what is known as economy. Like, you have to be able to know that you can do this. And there's multiple of people doing this very same thing, and you don't know it because nobody is getting in anyone's way. They doing that shit and they telling you what they doing. Because the game is to be sold, nigga, not told. You don't run around and tell everybody what you doing when your shit is going good. You know that's a rule. So don't be like, oh, I don't know if that's possible because there's nobody out there doing that. Nigga, nobody's telling you what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, cut it out. Everybody ain't in on the motherfucking secrets. Everybody ain't in on how people's out here making their money and making things pop and how they live in the way that they live. But Susu networks are the backbone to a lot of shit that people are utilizing that are winning. And I spoke about them earlier. There are different nationalities that you could just take an honest look and an assessment and be like, yo, these people are living a little differently because of this. They and coincidentally, they practice Susu. That money goes in a motherfucking circle multiple times and nobody has a problem with it. Niggas is coming off of that. They coming up off of that bread. They putting their motherfucking bread down and they letting that shit circulate. What are you talking about? But we spend our money. We don't circulate. So when you spend, you waste. When you circulate, you share. It moves around. When you spend your seed, that's when you bust on the ground, nigga. And they tell you don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're losing your energy. That's when you spill your energy on the ground when you could have planted it in fertile soil. But that's another story. But circulate it. When you circulate your dollar, it goes in circles. We don't even have the language together. We're not saying the right things. So when you don't utilize the right lexicon, you're not gonna initiate the right kind of results. So we gotta circulate the cryptocurrencies. We gotta circulate our coins. We gotta circulate our dollars. We gotta circulate our monies. And it's not, you don't have to pull no one's teeth. You don't have to beg anybody. You don't have to try to convince anybody of what the hell they, you know what I mean, what's already known. So, you know, we'll get on, we'll talk more about it, of course. You know, look forward to days where we'll have Facts 2020, you know, webinars during the day or during the week where we'll go extensively into more information. But this is just a glimpse. Go to the page and enjoy what it is that we have there. Sign up and let's get this thing going. You feel me? You said the way of the oh yeah, yeah. Thank you, Empress B44 4. Sister said red pill. People keep asking, telling me to be a model. Okay, people are telling you to be a model. Well, guess what? There's a new industry that exists. It's called a conscious industry. It's called the woke industry. You don't gotta be no. If you want to, I'm telling you, yeah. If people are telling you to be a model, come and model over here. If you don't want to see white man dancing in your video, rapping in the motherfucking, you know what I mean, getting it, yeah, come over here to, you know what I'm saying, to death row. You know, you should be modeling for some black brands. It's time to start bringing the models out and putting them together with the black brands, with the melanated small businesses. Right? The melanated small businesses. That's who the models should be giving their beauty and their grace and all of that, you know, that beauty and grace and power. And that's who they should be shining their light for. I think the days of trying to sell Versace's dresses and Gucci's t-shirts and you know, Moschino's scarves, those days should be over at this point. You know, I already got a lineup. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's already, you know what I mean? We already got the equivalent of a Victoria's Secret, you know what I mean? A secret show. It's some beautiful women in this community. I'm talking about it's some goddesses, you know. So it's no shortage. Hold on, let me give it, because I got to give you out a lecture. We're doing a collective call. Could somebody go on my Instagram page and get the information that I have up there for the May 11th event called Elevation, the Elevation event? If Empress B44, if you could go up there. That's the flyer that I have up there. It's me and a whole bunch of other healers. And because I want to be able to read that for the people. You said, are you able to sell your site? Are you able to sell your site through the Facts 2020? What do you mean, are you able to sell your site? Be a little clear on that. You know, we're going to have hip hop producers. We're going to have hip hop videographers. We're going to have our own webisode series. We're going to have documentaries being made. We're going to have green screen studios. We're going to have editing studios. We're going to have a lot of stuff. Even remember, we live in this modern day, we could work via cloud. So you don't have to be in the same room as somebody and edit a whole movie via the cloud. This has been done before. You feel me? So we have to know about the technology that exists and that's out there, the keys. This is the matrix. So we're talking about the keys. These apps are keys. If you want to use matrix mentality, the apps will be the keys that the key maker had in the matrix that was able to open different doors and to get into different places and whatnot. Remember the thing in the Matrix where they had Neo downloading shit into his brain and then all of the motherfucking guns would show up? Have you ever put on the Oculus Rift? Have you ever tapped into virtual reality? Like, you can have the same experience that Neo had in the Matrix when he was with Morpheus in the middle of the goddamn, and they looked up and the world was completely destroyed. And when Neo thought about the guns and everything came forward, Nick, you could have that experience right now with the Oculus Rift. But even better, we have developers and designers on our team, and we even need more to get on the team to where you could design your own matrix to where your young 5-year-old or your 15-year-old or your 50-year-old or whoever could put on those Oculus Rifts and they could step into your world, your matrix, your paradise, your victory lap. What's your version of heaven? That's what I'm talking about. That's what this is the power of the coders. This is what the developers are able to do. This is the power that we have at our hands right now. That the same way that they have the Oculus Rift and you could put on those glasses and have a matrix experience, we owe it to ourselves to code and develop and design our unique experience as quote unquote black gods and goddesses in 2020. You know what I mean? We could do it. The same video games, the same shit that they use to make Fortnite. That software is open source. It's what is it? Is it engine? It's the engine, right? The Unreal Engine. Everything is open source. You could build video games online. You could build apps online. You could do everything online for free 99, going up to $99 a month. Whatever you say. We subscribe, we got ways to get all of that. So what are we waiting for? That's all I want to know. Like what everybody sitting around waiting? Like, I've been in a waiting room, waiting with you, patiently. But if I see another nigga do a victimhood video, ambulance chaser video, you know what I'm saying? Black people, the world, Chicken Little video, I'm going to lose it. This is the end of the curse. This is the Jubilee year. Where's the jubilation? Yeah, Unreal Engine 4. Yeah, somebody said a nigga GitHub. Unreal Engine 4 is a technology that it's the software, it's the video game development technology that you can teach your 2-year-old, your 3-year-old, your 13-year-old. If you're homeschooling, if you have teenagers, you have to introduce them to that. You feel me? Even if it's 3D, if it's 3D rendering software or stuff like that, or CAD software, get them into Unity, not just playing the video games. Be like, yo,
you know, use your imagination unless you know, you could come and create a video game out of your head. That's for the youth. No, that I don't think that's for the old heads. That's something that you teach the children young, because the ones who's getting busy in that world, they're young. They mad young. They ain't no age limit, nigga. It's gonna be a 2-year-old running shit in a minute. You feel me? Like I said, it's black 6-year-olds in Ivy League colleges, and niggas is super seniors. So something, you know, something is some codes are breaking. Some codes are breaking. But look, it's getting late. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna tap out, and we'll get back to you on Third Eye Thursday. But then we got Blue Pill coming up tomorrow for Tough Talk Tuesdays. So make sure y'all tap in.